Welcome to the Explainer. All right, today we're going to break down the ultimate learning map for anyone who wants to become a pro at database testing. We're going to turn what feels like this huge, complex journey into a super simple step-by-step quest. So you're probably asking yourself, should I go manual or should I just jump right into automation? Well, here's the thing. That's kind of the wrong question to be asking. Combining both? Now that is the smartest move you can make as a tester today. Seriously, it's what makes you absolutely indispensable. So here's how we're going to tackle this quest. First, we'll set the goal. Then, level 1 will cover the absolute basics. Level 2 is all about mastering SQL, the language of data. Then, in level 3, we'll get our hands dirty with manual testing before we unlock our superpowers in levels 4 and 5 with automation. And then, we'll wrap it all up with a complete roadmap. All right, let's kick off this quest. The whole point here is simple, but it's super powerful. We want you to be totally confident understanding, testing, and automating the validation for any database that comes your way. Okay, every big journey starts with that first step, right? And for us, that's level 1. It's all about the absolute fundamentals. You can think of it like learning your ABCs before you try to write a novel. This stuff is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. So first up, we'll tackle the what and why, like what even is a database? Then we'll get into how they're built, with tables and records and these super important things called primary and foreign keys that link everything together. We'll also look at the two big families of databases and finally some of the popular tools you'll actually be using. Let's just forget all the techie jargon for a second. At its heart, a database is really just a super organized filing cabinet. Yeah, just like a big old school cupboard holding all the student files. Each file has its place, which makes finding and updating stuff a breeze. And this brings us to the two main flavors of databases you'll run into. On one side, you've got your relational or SQL databases. Think of these like a perfectly organized spreadsheet. Everything's in neat rows and columns. And on the other side, non-relational or NoSQL. These are more like a bunch of flexible sticky notes. They're awesome for data that's a bit messy and doesn't fit into a perfect little box. All right, on to level 2. This is where things start getting really interesting. So we know what a database is, but how do we actually talk to it? Well, that's what this level is all about, mastering SQL. It's pretty much the universal language for data. This is where you'll learn the magic words, the core commands to get the database to do what you want. You'll use select to just grab data, then you've got commands like insert and update to actually change things. And then there are joins, which let you combine data from different tables. And let me tell you, that's a total game changer for a tester. Finally, you've got aggregates, which help you do math, like counting things or finding averages. Basically, with SQL, you get to be a data detective. You can ask super specific questions like, hey, show me all the students who got an A, or count up how many students scored over 80%. It's a seriously powerful skill to have. Okay, so you can speak the language now. You're ready for your first real mission. Level 3, manual testing. This is where we take all that SQL knowledge and actually put it to use in a real-world situation. So here's where we get into the nuts and bolts of database testing. We'll talk about stuff like data integrity, making sure you can't register the same student twice with the same ID. That would be bad. And a huge part of this is data validation. Think about it. When someone signs up on a website, does their name and email actually get saved correctly in the database? That's what you'll be checking. Really, it all boils down to one simple question. Does what I see on the screen actually match what got saved in that database cupboard in the back? Answering that question is the absolute core of data validation. But this is where we hit a wall with manual testing. Checking one sign-up, easy. 10, yeah, probably fine. But what happens when you need to check 500 or 5,000? This problem right here is exactly why we need a much more powerful solution. And that brings us to where you unlock your superpowers. Levels 4 and 5 are all about automation and mastery. This is how you go from being a skilled apprentice to a full-on testing master, all by using the power of code. So what exactly is automation? Well, the easiest way to think about it is like having your own personal robot assistant who never gets tired. You just write the instructions one time, and this little robot can run thousands of checks for you perfectly, every single time, day or night. It doesn't care. So in these last levels, you're going to learn how to connect your automation scripts, maybe something you wrote in Python, directly to the database. This is huge because it lets you run tests for hundreds of different users all at once. And then you'll hit level 5, where you get into the really advanced stuff. Things like performance, finding those sneaky, slow queries that could crash your whole app. And security, learning how to spot and stop nasty attacks like SQL injection that could leak all your user data. Now, as you go through this journey, you're going to build an amazing toolbox of skills. You'll get hands-on experience with the most popular databases out there, the ones companies are actually hiring for. We're talking relational databases like MySQL and PostgreSQL, and also flexible NoSQL ones like MongoDB, which is a beast for handling huge amounts of data. And it's not just about knowing the databases themselves. You're going to master the tools that make them tick. You'll be using clients like dbeaver, which is kind of like a file explorer for your database, super visual and easy to use. And then you'll dive into powerful automation frameworks like Selenium for website testing and Postman for API testing, connecting both of them back to the database to make sure everything works perfectly from end to end. Wow, okay. We've covered a lot of ground, from the absolute ABCs all the way to advanced automation. So let's take a step back, zoom out, and look at the whole roadmap one more time, just to see how it all fits together. And there you have it. The whole quest broken down into 5 clear, totally doable steps. You learn the basic concepts. You master SQL. You get your hands dirty with some manual testing. Then you level up with automation. And finally, you put it all to the test on a real project. It's a tried and true path that will take you from zero to hero. So look, this isn't just some random checklist of things to learn. What you're looking at right now is a real structured map. It's designed to build your skills and your confidence step by step. This really is your path to becoming a pro. So we've given you the map. We've shown you the path from beginner all the way to pro. The whole adventure is laid out right in front of you. So the only question left is, when are you going to start your quest?